Greetings, you river hoopoos. I hope you're doing well. My name is Graham, and welcome to the Crack-A-Pack here on LRRMTG. Please consider subscribing to our humble channel. Today, we're opening a pack of Hour of Devastation, the second in the Amonkhet block, and this was given to us by Egypt Craze at PAX East 2019. Now, obviously, that's a name I recognize from our chat, but in this context, I'm realizing maybe they're just a big fan of Egypt. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe they were like, I want to give Floating Ready Run a pack. I know. This will be on brand. So, Hour of Devastation. Let's open it. Yes. First up, Blur of Blades. Blur Blades. It's 1 and a red for an instant. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Blur of Blades deals 2 damage to that creature's contrition, controller, comptroller, commissioner, commissar. It deals 2 damage to that creature's commissary. And then the buffet just disintegrates. How's your day going? This card was fine. It's fine. You could kill stuff, you know, like an X1, or you could mess with combat and then just randomly bonus, boop, get you for 2. Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure somebody's won a game with Blur of Blades by being able to just boop their opponent for 2, and that must have felt fun. Unquenchable Thirst. Thank you. I will. I appreciate you bringing it up, card. Ah. 1 and a blue for a creature enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, if you control a desert, or there is a desert in your graveyard, tap enchanted creature. And the enchanted creature does not untap during its controller's untap step. Or if there's a desert in your graveyard was cool because there was an uncommon cycle of lands that had you sack a desert. They were themselves deserts, so in a pinch you could sacrifice themselves, but they had you sacrifice a desert to have an effect. And there was also a common cycle of lands that were deserts that also cycled. The cycle had cycling, so you could pitch it to draw a card and whatever. So it was, you know, it didn't. I'm sure that at some point it was like, if you control a desert, wait, but we've incentivized our players to throw the deserts away. What have we done? So all these cards that care about deserts also count if you have them in your graveyard. And this one's fine. Dutiful Servants. 3 and a white for a 2/5 zombie. Yeah, that's it. They're still working, even though, you know, even though there's literally rivers of blood in the background. Oh, it says right there, the rivers bled and the sky wept tears of fire. All the while, servants silently continued their work, oblivious to it all. This was a reference to a card from the previous set that had slightly different stats, but very similar art. And I don't remember which one it was, but it was another white zombie creature. It was like a 2/4 for 3, maybe. Anyway. Beneath the Sands. 2 and a green, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, shuffle your library. 3 mana to fix for 1 land. Not amazing, but it does have cycling for 2 colorless, so yeah, all right. Sometimes you just need it. Lurching Rot Beast. You're lucky I was so enamored with calling you river hoopoos. 3 and a black for a 4/2 zombie beast. That's bad because it trades with like nearly everything. But it does have cycling for a single black. And there were cards that cared about when you cycled, so maybe it's just in your deck so you can cycle it. Because otherwise it's not good. It also looks unwell, but that's sort of the nature of it. Without Weakness. 1 and a black, instant. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. And it has cycling too. This is like the first time I've seen reminder text for indestructible. Damage and effects that say destroy, don't destroy it. If its toughness is 0 or less, it's still put into its owner's graveyard. Interesting. Anyway, it's got cycling for 2, so sometimes that was all you cared about. I will say, this block was not as warped by colorless cycling costs as, for example, Ikoria, which was warped by colorless cycling costs. In this set, it was just like, okay, cool. It was just good. It was just, you know, good stuff. Here's an example. Cunning Survivor. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 human warrior. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, which is... I know that they said it like that, but like part of cycling is discarding the card, but I think that that's just like to make it really clear. Anyway, Cunning Survivor gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked. Not bad. Ah, here's one of those deserts I mentioned. Desert of the Mindful. It's a land, it's a desert. It enters tapped. It taps for blue, or it cycles for 1 and a blue. Hooray! Pick those up early because you won't get them late. Oketra's Avenger. This is a good one. 1 and a white for a 3/1 human warrior. You may exert Oketra's Avenger as it attacks. When you do, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to it this turn. Boy, this was annoying. It was just like, take 3, lose a creature. You want to fight about it? That was good stuff. Gift of Strength. 1 and a green. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains reach until end of turn. This was literally surprise reach. You know, sometimes there's surprise reach just because you haven't read the card you're attacking your flyer into. And I speak from personal experience when I say that. But this was surprise reach, like quite literally, and sometimes you really needed to do that. Razaketh's Right. Why do I not remember this? 3 black for a sorcery. Search your library for a card and put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library. Or cycling for a black. Huh. So it's a tutor for 5 mana. It's the old 5 mana tutor with set mechanic on it. Yeah? I don't know. These never really sort of land for me in limited, so I guess that's probably why I didn't see it. Saving Grace is next. I assume the person being held is named Grace. 1 and a white for a flash enchantment. Enchant creature you control. When Saving Grace enters the battlefield, all damage that would be dealt this turn to you and permanents you control is dealt to enchanted creature instead, and the enchanted creature gets +0/+3. So that +3 might not be enough to save it. But this would be really irritating against a Alpha Strike, because then you take no damage and a bunch of your creatures survive, and maybe you get to kill some of their creatures, and you only lose 1 creature and presumably also the Saving Grace. It's probably like not good, but I think it's neat. Our last uncommon, Ominous Sphinx. You know, as opposed to the really like banal Sphinx you sort of see on your normal walk to work. 3 blue for a 4/4 Sphinx with flying. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, target creature and opponent controls gets -2/-0 until end of turn. Super irritating. Really messing with the combat math. You're just sitting there being like, what if they have it? Can I block this? Dare I block this? What if they have it? They generally had it. We've got a plains and an insect token, but our rare is Resilient Kenra. 1 and a green for a 2/2 Jackal Wizard. Jackal Wizard. When Resilient Kenra enters the battlefield, you may have target creature get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Resilient Kenra's power. Now, initially, that's going to be 2. So it'll get +2/+2. So, you know, nice little bonus. It's bear. It's a 2/2 for 2. You play this. It's a 2/2 for 1 and a green. Pump something else. If you play it on turn 2, you're unlikely to really get value off that. But wait, there's more, because you can eternalize it for 4 green. And a reminder that says, exile this card from your graveyard. Create a token that is a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie Jackal Wizard with no mana cost. Eternalize only as a sorcery. So you get to this, this is where they get clad in Lazotep, the stuff that makes them indestructible, and they can go through Tezzeret's Time Bridge and War of the Spark happens. Remember all that? Anyway, so yeah, you make it a 4/4, then it comes back later as just a 4/4, but then ETB that time you get to give one of your other creatures +4/+4. So maybe that can do some bigger damage. I don't know. The Eternalized creatures were good. Like, it's maybe a little lackluster for a rare, but it's a rare that in a green deck you're always going to play, just because at worst, it's a bear. It's a rare bear. Technically a Jackal Wizard. But you know what I mean. The whole pack is, value-wise, worth, like $1.12. No one's shocked about this. Although, this insect token, this is the one for the Locust God. Maybe that's worth a couple cents. I don't know. But what am I going to take out of this pack? Probably the Sphinx, because it's a big old flyer and it does stuff, and it's an uncommon. Because otherwise it'd be, I don't know, Oketra's Avenger, Desert of the Mindful, Resilient Kenra. It's not really a banger of a pack, if I'm being frank about it. But yeah, we'll just take the Sphinx and we'll go, oh, that's a bit ominous, and we'll sort of move on with our lives. And speaking of which, if you want to move on with sending us a pack of magic cards, great segue, Graham, always a pleasure, you can do so to the address on your screen. And a reminder, of course, that this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Until next time, I've been Graham, James is running tech, Matt edits these, Heather gets them online, and you have all been watching, and we thank you for it. We'll see you next time. Bye.